Hello and welcome to Tuesday's Maths. So today we are going to be rewinding our learning from yesterday, all about time and telling the time, and then we're going to move on to looking at the 12 and 24-hour clock and converting between the two. If you think I'm already really confident with this, skip forward to the different points of the video, have a go at the questions. And then if you're not feeling confident, you can watch the rest of the video, or if you're still feeling really confident, you know how to do this, there is a challenge on Dojo and Google Classroom for you to have a go at. Okay, first things first, let's rewind. Can you tell me the time? And if you can tell me the time, can you tell me in words? Can you tell me what it would look like on a digital clock as well? So hopefully you've remembered that the small hand is the hours, and we looked at that first of all. So we know it's 2 o'clock. Okay, we know that it's the hour is 2. We don't know yet whether yet it's just before 2 or just after 2. And we know that by then looking at the long grey minutes hand. Okay, on this clock it's got 3 hands because the red hand is the seconds hand. We don't really need to worry about that one. So the long grey hand, that's the minutes hand, and it's pointing at the 5. So does that mean it's 5 minutes past 2? Hopefully you're telling me, no, that's not right, because each one of those numbers represents 5 minutes. So 5 times 5 is 25, so this would be 2:25 or 25 past 2. Second rewind then, what's the time? And again, can you tell me in digital and in words? So hopefully you've started by looking at the hours hand, and you're looking at the little black hand, and it is pointing at the 9. So is this nearly 9 o'clock, or is it just gone past 9? Well, to know that, we look at the long grey hand, and that is pointing at the 10. So that tells me that it is 10 minutes to 9. It is nearly 9 o'clock. It is 10 to 9. Now, on a digital clock, how would we say that? So for this one, we need to think, well, what hour has it gone past? Well, it's just gone past the 8. And it's how many minutes past the 8? Well, remember, each one of the numbers stands for 5 minutes. 10 times 5 is 50. So it's 8:50 or 10 to 9. And we can check that, because if it's 8:50, you've got 10 minutes until it's 9 o'clock. And 50 add 10 makes 60, which we know there is 60 minutes in an hour. Last rewind then, what is the time? Well, this time the hour hand is pointing at the 12. The grey hand is pointing in between the 11 and the 12. So 11 times 5 is 55. So that would be 55 minutes past 11. So this is just in between it. So I think it's 56, 57, maybe 58 minutes past 11. So 11:58, and if it's 11:58, it's how many minutes to get to 12? How many minutes to 60? It will be 2 minutes to 12. Well done if you got those right. Okay, we're now going to have a look at, we're going to play our lesson, and we're going to have a look at converting between the 12 and 24-hour clock. So to do this, we need to know how many hours in a day. There are 24. Okay, there's 24 hours in a day. Now, in a normal day, how many 12 o'clocks do we have? How many 12 o'clocks are there? Well, in a day, which is 24 hours, there are 2 12 o'clocks. There's 12 o'clock a.m., which is midday, which is where you might have your lunchtime. And there's 12 o'clock p.m., which is midnight, where hopefully you are asleep. So you can see both these clocks say 12 o'clock. So both the analogue clocks say 12 o'clock. However, what is it about the digital ones then that tell you that these two times are different? How do you know which one's midday and which one's midnight? Well, there's 2 different ways a digital clock can tell you whether it's morning or nighttime. One of the ways is that it might say AM or PM after the number. Now, these are Latin, and you don't need to know what the Latin words stand for, okay? So I'm going to teach you instead what the little kind of way we use to remember them is. So we say AM is at morning. So if it's 12 o'clock at the morning, in the morning, it must be 12 o'clock midday. Then for PM, you can either say past morning or past midday, okay? And that's a little way to help you remember these letters. So AM is at morning, so in the morning, and PM is past the morning or past midday, because these are the ones that are in the afternoon or in the evening. And here is a diagram to hopefully show you. So you've got 12 o'clock at midnight, and then you've got all the morning, so 3 o'clock, hopefully still be asleep. 6 o'clock, that's when I'm usually getting up to go to the gym and go for a swim. 7, 8, 9 o'clock, that's when we're normally kind of getting into school, settling down to do the register. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, that's when we're just coming to the end of our literacy lesson normally. And that is 12 noon, okay, 12 o'clock at midday. And that is where we change from AM in the morning to PM. So then we have the next 12 hours, so 3 o'clock, just before we go home from school normally. 6 o'clock, maybe might be your dinner time. 9 o'clock might be your bedtime, it's definitely my bedtime. And then we go through till 12 o'clock at midnight, and then we go back to the start. So I want you to have a look at these times and tell me, are they in the morning or are they in the evening or the afternoon? So 4 a.m. 4 a.m. is at morning or in the morning, so it's 4 o'clock in the morning, where again, you probably would be asleep. 7 p.m. Would this be in the morning or in the evening? Well, if it's p.m., it's past morning or past midday, so this would be 7 o'clock in the evening. And the last one, 11 a.m. 11 a.m. is at morning, so this would be 11 o'clock in the morning, about when we've just come in from break time normally. So one way that we can tell whether it's a morning time or an afternoon time is by saying AM or PM. The other thing that a digital clock can do is it can start telling the time in 24-hour format, okay? So when we get all the way around to 12 o'clock at midday, we've already had 12 hours of the day. When we then go to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 o'clock PM, we've had 12 hours. Now we've had 13 hours because we just add on 1. So you can write 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 o'clock PM as 13:00. Okay, we don't really say 13 o'clock, but if this was 10 past 1, we could say 13:10. Okay, and that tells us it is in the afternoon. So 1 o'clock is the same as saying 13. 2 o'clock on a 24-hour clock is 14, because it's 14 hours, because you had 12 hours till midday, 13 hours, 14 hours. 3 o'clock would be 15 hours. So you could say that we leave school at 15:15, because we leave school at 3:15 normally. 4 o'clock would be the same as 16. 5 o'clock would be 17. I wonder if you can work out what 6 o'clock would be. It would be 18, because 12 add 6 would be 18. Remember, you've always got those 12 hours to get you to midday. So what would 7 o'clock be? 19. 8 o'clock, what would 8 add 12 be? 20. 9 o'clock? 21. 10 o'clock then would be 22, because you've had 12 hours to get to midday, add another 10, 22. 11 o'clock is then 23, and then we're back to 12 o'clock or midnight. Now, this is where you might see it different depending on whichever kind of digital clock you've got, or it might even say one and then change to the other. So really, by the time we've got around to 12 o'clock, we've actually had 24 hours. So you might see your clock say this, saying it's in 24 hours. Or your clock might go straight back to 0, because we are back at 0, ready to start another day. You don't usually see 1 past 24 and 2 past the 24. Normally it would go to the zeros by then, because at that point you're then starting a new day, so you've got 1 minute past midnight. Okay, and here's all that information written down for you. So if you want to write this down, turn this into a poster. This is really important. It's going to help you with the next little bit. So as you can see on here, so here you've got 00 is 12 a.m, 1 o'clock, 1 a.m, 2 o'clock, 2 a.m, 3 o'clock, 3 a.m, etc. All the morning hours are pretty easy to remember because they are the same, the numbers are the same, and they are just a.m. When we get to the afternoon ones, these are the ones that are a little bit hard to remember, but not really. 12 o'clock's 12 p.m, nice and easy. 1 p.m, well, it's 12 o'clock, add an hour, so 13. You might even hear people call it 1300. And then you've got 2 o'clock, 14, 3 o'clock, 15, etc., etc., etc. So we're now going to have a look at how we convert between these two numbers. Now, as time goes on, you will get very automatic at this and you'll just remember it, okay? But I'm going to show you how to work it out before that. So here I've got 8 o'clock p.m. So it's p.m, it's past morning. So it's 8 o'clock in the evening, where you might just be settling down to watch some television or read a book before you go to bed. Now, what would this be on a 24-hour clock? Well, remember, you've already got until midday, that was 12 hours, and you've gone 8 hours past that. So all you need to do is you need to add 12, and on a 24-hour clock, this would be 2000 hours, as they say. Now, we very rarely in the English language use this 24-hour clock in our speech. So you might hear some people say 2000 hours, that's kind of a bit of a military thing, I think. But on the whole, we don't really say it's 20 o'clock. Instead, we convert it back into the 12-hour clock and say it's 8 o'clock, okay? We just need to know this so that we can do that. So if we look at our phone and it says 2034, we think 2034, is that 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock? Well, so if this way we add 12 hours, how do you think we could work out from 20? How could we work it to get it back into a 12-hour clock and not a 24-hour clock? Well, if we add 12 hours to go this way we take away 12 hours. So if you look at your phone and it says 2030, then you can think, right, take away 12 will be 8, so it's 8:30, so it's 8:30. Next one is 9:30 p.m. Well, if it's p.m, it's past morning, so it's in the afternoon or the evening, really. So if I want to work this out on a 24-hour clock, I need to add 12 because I've started at midday and added on 12. 9 add 12 is 21. But don't forget, you started at 9:30, so it'd be 21 and still those 30 minutes. Right, next one, 11:56 p.m, which tells me it's in the evening. How would I turn this into a 24-hour clock? Well, I need to add 12 hours, so it would be 23:56. Well done if you got that right. Right, next one. This time I've given you the 24-hour clock, and let's see if we add 12 to go from 12-hour clock to 24-hour clock. What do we need to do this time? We need to take away the 12 hours. So 22 take away 12 would be 10. So this would be the same as saying 10 p.m. Okay, it's the same way of saying it, it's just on a different clock. Next one, 14. So it's showing on my phone as 14:00. How do I get that back into a 12-hour clock? Well, I need to take away 12 because that's taking away those 12 hours that we had in the morning and just telling me the afternoon hours. 14 take away 12 would be 2. So it would be 2 o'clock and it would be 2 p.m. because it would be 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, question time. I want you to have a go, pause this video and have a go at converting these between 24-hour time and 12-hour time. Have a go. Okay, answer time then. So on the 24-hour clock, it says that it is 3:15. So if it's 3:15 on the 24-hour time, this tells me that it's in the morning because we've not gone past 12. So this would be 3:15 and we write it as AM because it's in the morning. Next one was 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I know it's the afternoon because it says PM. So I do 4, I add on those 12 hours and that would be 16. You don't need to put the PM afterwards because that tells me that this is in the afternoon. Next one was 7:30 a.m. So again, for this one, I know it's in the morning, so the time is not going to change because it is still 7 hours and 30 minutes past. So it still stays as 7:30. Next one was 18:45. Right, it's gone past 12, so this tells me it's in the afternoon, so I'm going to need to put PM. If it's 18, if I take away 12, that gets me to 6, so it's 6:45 p.m. This one says 14:30. Again, it's gone past 12, so I know this is the afternoon, so I know it's PM. If I do 14 and I take away 12, it's 2, so it'd be 2:30 p.m. And then this one, 5:30 a.m. Again, it tells me it's in the morning, so I know it's going to stay as 5:30. Okay, last little challenge for today then. So in each pair, so in each horizontal pair, can you tick the time that comes earliest in the day. The first one's done for you. So the first one, we know that 11:30 is going to be in the morning. We know that 3:15 p.m. is in the afternoon. So we know that 11:30 would come first. Right, pause the video and let's have a go. So, answer time. So for the next pair, we've got 4:15 and then we've got 4:30 a.m. Well, 4:15 has not gone past 12, so I know it's in the morning. 4:30 a.m. is also in the morning. So what would come first, 4:15 or 4:30? Well, 4:15 would come first because that would be 4:15 rather than 4:30. So you should have ticked the one on the left. Then we've got 13:15. Well, that's gone past 12, so I know that's in the afternoon. And then I've got 1 o'clock p.m. Well, I know that that's in the afternoon as well. So if I look at 13:15, if I take away 12 to see what time it would be on a 12-hour clock, it would be 1:15. So then I've got 1:15 or 1 o'clock. Which one comes first? Well, 1 o'clock comes first, so you should have ticked the one on the right. Next row down, you've got 8:30 p.m. and we've got 9:15. Well, 8:30 p.m. tells me it's in the afternoon. 9:15 tells me it's in the morning, so you should have ticked 9:15. Next pair down, you've got 11:30 a.m., which tells me it's in the morning, and you've got 23:30, which tells me it's in the evening. So 11:30 a.m. would be the one to tick. If that had said PM, then those times would have been the same, but it says AM, so I know it's 11:30 AM comes first. Last one then, we've got 14:30. If I take away 12, I know that's 2:30. If I take away 12 hours, it would be 2:30. And on the other side, it's 2:15 PM, which is 2:15 in the afternoon. So I've got 2:30 and I've got 2:15. So 2:15 would be the earliest one. Right, well done for today. You have worked really, really hard. I'm really impressed. If you found that super easy and you want a challenge, there is a challenge on Class Dojo and Google Classroom for you as well. Bye!